Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let Loose with Moose. Today I have Louround here with me. Hey Louround, how are you doing?
Hey Moose, going well and you?
I'm doing great. So let's jump right in. So before we begin on your insights and all the great stories you're going to share, right? On your Twitter bio, it says that you're ex-hedge fund analyst. So could you tell us a bit more about yourself and what you did previously, and of course, how you got into crypto as well?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I can present myself, my background, how did I end up in the crypto industry. Um, so it was quite a long time ago. I started in 2017. I always, had this, let's say, entrepreneurial mindset where I wanted to find side hustles, how to make money, like in a different way than having a job. So I was searching, like as everyone would do on YouTube, how to make money online. So I ended up finding e-commerce at first. Uh, I think I was young, I was still in high school, but I found this e-commerce, so I started, like the basic drop shipping because you don't need so much money to start. So I did a lot of drop shipping. It obviously did not work, but at least I learned a lot on the marketing side, how to sell, how to write, copy, so it's a lot of copywriting, how to present projects, your ideas, create ads or designs, get in talks with whoever, like suppliers, customers, and so on. And so it basically became like having this kind of not side hustle because I was not making money, but like trying to learn stuff that I could really use in the future. So it was kind of my hobby and what I did, what I did, like after school or during holidays. So yeah, as I said, drop shipping. Obviously, I lost all of my money. I started something else. So I found poker. I played a lot, but with like let's say not that much money, but at least same, to learn concepts around poker. I think there is a lot of similarities with cryptos and especially investment. We can maybe talk about it later. But since it's kind of a PvP or player versus player, it's not really gambling. So you have to manage your stack, your money, not being, let's say, result oriented, manage your emotions like you would need to do in crypto and investment or whatever. So again, I lost all my money on this. And then I started, so there is some main online businesses. So there is the e-commerce that I tried and failed. There is the poker that I tried and failed. Then
Mm-hmm.
there is the forex and the trading. So I said, okay, let's try the forex and the trading. So shares, leverage, and so on. So same, try to understand how investment works, how share works, how forex works. It was quite interesting because it's basically stuff that you don't learn at school. So interesting. But I found out like trading it's extremely hard, to understand the market, especially if you want to make interesting money. You need a certain capital at first. So it's whether you find some I don't know penny stocks uh, like it would be cheat coins, but it's quite hard, let's say compared to crypto. So again, I lost a lot because I had a huge risk appetite, so a bit too much leverage. And so this leads us to the I think 2017 in May, April, something like in the middle of the bull run. this bull run. So ends up in crypto. Um, I started to invest in like the Dino coins for now. So obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum, Zcash, Terra Lumens, and all those super old coins that never shipped products or whatever. But yeah, I was just investing because I had no understanding of the market, no understanding on how to do due diligence. But since it was a bull market, I was like, wow, I'm making money. I'm good at finally I'm good at something. So it made money, 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 and obviously, as I was kind of a retail, I never took any profits. And then the bear market arrived, so I got completely wrecked to a point where I got like, I don't know, maybe 20% of my initial investment in value. All the rest was kind of wiped out. But I still, liked the vision and the technology of Bitcoin. So I said, okay, let's just keep it. Like, if it goes lower, then it goes lower. Because I always put money, so even in e-commerce or broker or whatever, put money that I could afford losing, not money that I will need to live. So that was okay, if I lost money. So since it was the bear market, nothing happened. I went back to drop shipping. This time it was a bit more successful. I learned much more about marketing and how to communicate. And then I guess
Nice.
that's when the COVID arrived. So 2019, I was still, around trading. There was that was the COVID. I kind of saw the COVID crash coming, so I shorted the market as usual with uh, like quite a lot of leverage because I was a huge degen. So made some made some good money uh, on this. And I remember, by the way, for the small note, that Ethereum was at like $80, and I was with my credit card like, should I buy or will it go lower? I said, no, it will go lower. I will wait.
Oh no.
And so, man, now I'm like, what? Especially after, because the next bull run, like it went, I think like 3,000 if I remember correctly. So it was like literally the bottom. But I did not have, this understanding of buying when the market is in fear mode and selling when everyone is like kind of crazy. So anyway, the bull run arrives. I get much more involved in the industry because I somehow found again my Blockfolio app. Um, it's like it was, to track your assets. So it went from, I think, 20% of my initial investment to plus 100% from my initial investment. So I was like, whoa, I'm making money again. So since I was making money, the assets were in like green. I said, okay, it's the perfect moment to come back in the industry. So it was still a bit late, but I came back, and same as the second time I went to into drop shipping, I said, okay, I really need to learn and understand how it works. So I learned a lot about the industry, uh, developed some research, understanding the concepts, entering communities. I also started to work like, as moderator for NFT projects, so I could make some small money aside of it. And then after some time discussing with a lot of persons, I joined a crypto hedge fund as an analyst on analyst position. However, I cannot talk that much about this project because there is currently legal proceedings against the general partner. So quite crazy story, but anyway, so I ended up leaving this project, and so obviously in the meantime the market continued to pump. Uh, this time, my investments were quite interesting because I was doing research, having proper framework, and so on. But I still had, this crazy degen mindset. So when the market was like at the top, so everyone on crypto Twitter, bullish, saying, wow, Bitcoin to some 100K and so on. I had no better idea than longing the top. And so as usual, I did not want it to take my losses. So I was just adding collateral, and then like I think one day it did minus 20% or something. So I got liquidated, lost most of the money I made over the last 1 or 2 years. So that was
Man,
yeah, man, that was a crazy feeling. Like I was in front of my computer checking the balance, zero. I'm like, wow, okay, my magic internet money disappeared. So yeah, I think even it's not. I think I made a thread on this story. Uh, it was one of actually the most successful I did. I think it got like millions of views, 7K likes, really something interesting. And we'll come back to this, but it was quite nice to share my experience. But so after losing like all this money, I was still studying aside, so I finished my studies, and I did not really want to get a job. Still wanted to pursue this dream of being an entrepreneur and having a different lifestyle. So I said, okay, let's take 1 year off. I have my master, so I can always find some work later on. So I said, let's take 1 year and try things, but going like 110% into it, not just like some side hustle when I was coming back from school or whatever when I had time. So it took me some time to figure out what I wanted to do. I really like crypto, the general environment. It's completely different from the corporate life. So it's, I guess, like it's chill. Everyone is kind of nice and so on. So I took part in a crypto project, tried to build something in the industry. Since at the same time I was often early on projects, so finding them, on Twitter and so on. I decided to create a Twitter account and share about testnets. That's where I started. If here in the audience there is some persons that remember, I started as my name was like OG Testnet. So I was basically sharing the testnet I found. So a kind of comprehensive research on the project, maybe 5, 10 tweets explaining what they are doing, if they are unique or not. And then the second part explaining how to do the testnet, so which tasks people should do, and to maybe hope get some, tokens, airdrop, and so on. So I wanted to share this. And if at the same time, I could get, I don't know, maybe a whitelist from the project or whatever, could be nice. But it's I was doing this other project on the side, um, sharing about testnets. It was not that crazy in terms of engagement and so on. Maybe I got like 200 followers in 2 or 3 months. So I went like I focused on the project I wanted to create, which was an investment DAO. We were trying to raise fund um, exactly when FTX arrived and crashed. So obviously it was a huge fail. And so this was, I guess, in November, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think so. And so it was also the end of my, the 1 year experimentation period that I gave myself to try finding something. But since I really wanted, to stay into crypto, I said, okay, before the last moment to find a job, I had this kind of existential crisis when I kind of tried to understand everything. Why all the stuff I'm trying is failing. Crypto is failing. I all my money during the bear market, poker, drop shipping, trading, investments, blah blah blah. So I changed, especially the mindset and how I had vision on everything I was doing. And I said, okay, let's do one last thing. I posted a thread on Twitter. This time I came with a much better, strategy, studied a lot, how some threads are working, why some are not working, how do they phrase their content to make it appealing for users and so on. And I said, okay, let's push this one and then we'll see. So I still had like, I don't know, 200, 300 followers back in the time. And the first thread I post, so after a long time being inactive, it does like 1K likes. I'm like, wow. The ratio, compare followers compared to likes, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. Did I crack the code of Twitter or like what happened, There was even some of my friends, they say like, hey, you bought some followers, or blah, blah, blah. So I said, no, obviously did not. So I pushed the second one, it did like, again, more than 1.2K likes or something. So I said, okay, there is something around content creation. Uh, People might like how I write, how they like what I share, and so on. So I continued pushing a lot of content uh, from there. So from December 2022, and I had a super fast growth. Uh, January to March, it was along with the kind of mini bull run we had with all the perp dexes popping around the market. And yeah, I mainly shared like resources, everything I basically learned since I entered crypto, because I said like, if I'm anyway gonna leave crypto to work in maybe Web 2.5, let's share everything and give it to people on Twitter. So it ended up like working pretty well. I succeeded to build an audience on Twitter, sharing some qualitative content, focusing on educational uh, research and stuff, breaking down concepts to make it as easy as possible to understand for newcomers. And so, yeah, here I am now, collaborating and advising crypto projects. I launched recently Stake Capital and Redacted Research. So, yeah, trying to build, continuing with this envy of, trying as many things as possible, and bring as much as possible to the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's basically my crypto story, how I ended up here.
Man, that's a long story, man.
Yeah, sorry if it was a bit long, but there was so many like events and so on.
Yeah, but I
If
really like how like you kept on trying different things. I think it's the curiosity that's really important, the eagerness to learn new stuff, right? And I didn't know that you started off writing test nets. I can't remember when I started following you and your content, but definitely not during the testnet season or the testnet
yeah,
bug. Yeah.
it was
And yeah,
kind
go
of
ahead.
different. Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, it's it was, yeah, just a different audience. I also had a not very different writing style, but let's say the way I was framing my threads were different from the way I did when, like, in January, when I had this quite fast growth. So yeah, that's maybe why.
Mm-hmm. Right, and you mentioned, right, they wrote a tweet, um or like you shared this story back then where in February of this year, 2023, you you wrote a tweet that you lost most of your net worth during the last bull run, and you shared some tips. So in there, um you mentioned that now you use three portfolios, right? One for long-term blue chip assets, one for mid-term, like combined with altcoins, for like following trends and narratives, and then last one is for low leverage trading. So then my question now would then be, how is the allocation like among these three portfolios? Like, is the blue chip assets, the long-term portfolio, the biggest allocation among the three, or how does it look like? Could you share that with us? And I think the question was more of like, how's the weightage, like is it like 50% in in your long-term portfolio and like a 40% alts and 10% degen, or how's the weightage look like for you?
For the at the moment, so in terms of current values, it's 60% in the long term because I feel like we are still super low in prices for
Mm-hmm.
main assets. So I wanted to allocate quite a lot. Then 30% to the, let's say, mid-term plays, and then 10 to the short term, or 5 for the leverage trading. Even though I don't trade much, but I still like, I want to have some funds into whether centralized exchanges for leverage or like decentralized ones. In case, I don't know, maybe I can catch the ETF ETF announcement and I go 100x leverage. No, no, I'm joking. But yeah, sometimes, when you hear about some catalysts that you can take action on, it's always nice to have the funds ready uh, on the exchange. So yeah,
Right.
that's the current share. Then I guess depending on how I play the bull run, it will change. But I will also send profits that I make from the mid-term wallet to the long-term wallet. So I'm still securing the profits. I don't have exactly now the exact percents that I will send to the main wallet from the mid wallet, but it's always at the same time important to take profits and to secure the profits for the future. Not
Mm-hmm.
like round tripping everything and constantly reinvesting.
Right. But like, are you going to target to maintain this weightage in your three portfolios as the next cycle comes in, right? Like when you mentioned earlier, taking profits from your mid-term to your long-term. So you're gonna constantly rebalance it at like 60, 30, or like just gonna let it run and then slowly let it move from your mid-term to your long-term portfolio as you take profits, and then keep your long-term more for like it's kind of a retirement or something in future, kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I think it will depend on the asset. I cannot say that every 2x I will sell half and so on. It depends on the
Mm-hmm.
price actions, the catalyst, and so on. When I made the thread, about tips to manage portfolio and so on, it was really like for an audience that's not used to invest and that maybe have a different view and risk aversion as me. So if I have a midterm play which is uh, pumping a lot and I don't see any particular reason to sell, obviously I will take some profit. So
Mm-hmm.
most of the time it's like when you do, I don't know, two, three, depends how strong the coin is, two, three, 4x, you take your profits out and then you let run the rest. Or if it's a project like you are very bullish over the midterm, then I will just like let it run and the wait for the hype to stop. So it's still like
Mm-hmm.
always changing, I would say.
All right,
But
got
there
it.
is this repartition that I would like at least to keep. Yeah.
All right, understood. And I believe, right, the long-term portfolio is understood by most, if not all, right? Like your main blue chips are there. Now, what I'm more interested would then be in what is your framework when you go into deciding which tokens to add into your mid-term portfolio, right? Like you mentioned, following narratives or like some of the altcoins that you prefer. What do you look at to decide whether this would go into that portfolio?
Yeah. For the midterm plays, yeah, I guess the important part is first to build your own thesis on what you think will pump in the future, will work, will have like some catalyst. So that's one of the one of the ways to build this portfolio, it's not only like narrative and always, round tripping AI, real world asset, and always changing. It can be most of the time important to position yourself before even the narrative becomes a thing. So let's say, I don't know, you are bullish on AI because it's a narrative that is quite easily understandable for new entrants. So you say, okay, most of the people now they know about AI, ChatGPT, and so on. It will be much easier for them to understand than LSD, for example. So you say, okay, I'm bullish on AI. You do some research on projects, main projects that you see, whether on Twitter, that you research. You build a list, and then you conduct your own due diligence. So through a framework that maybe we can discuss a bit later, but that you will have built beforehand. And then you allocate your funds based on how confident you are on the play. So that's one part. And then you have on the other part some funds where you can round trip exactly like you see Arbitrum steep coming. You said, okay, who are the projects which will receive the most Arbitrum tokens? What will it induce? What will it create? With the price pump? With the price dump? Improve the TVL, improve the volume, and so on. And so once you've done this, once you've like determined which project seems to be the most interesting, you play the narrative. So yeah, that's how I do. I don't like to follow all the narratives because most of the time when you see a narrative, especially on Twitter, it's already late. It's not most of the time too late, but you know, usually when short-term plays are on Twitter, it's not the best moment to position yourself.
Understood. And like, what about fundamentals? Do you look at any fundamentals or any metrics in particular?
Yeah, so I would say, after doing a lot of research, you have kind of a framework that you look and that you build. So mainly, it's first understanding the project. Uh, is the project useful for the industry? Will users have interest in using this project? Is it unique? Is it just a fork? Like a new GMX fork. Okay, what's the added value? Why is this project better than another one? So then you can, understand what they say, what they do, if they already have some background. So if you can find some information on the team, if they are playing a narrative, or if they are not playing a narrative, if they are like just building something that's really legit. So yeah, I would say that's w- the main part out of two, which is so the product, is it useful, will people use it, is it filling a need, and so on. And then I also like a lot understanding their marketing and how they communicate. I think it's something really important in crypto. It's crypto is an attention-based economy, and most of the projects, if they want to stay, let's say, alive, they need to keep and attract attention from the market. So understanding, yeah, what their plan is, how how they are communicating, how they are able to make their content easily digestible for everyone. Because if it's a project that even you are struggling to understand, how will not your friends, but maybe new entrants will understand it? So that's some points that are quite important. Then you have obviously Twitter, their presence, their engagement, the community, which is extremely, extremely important. if you don't have a community as a project, then you basically do not have any supporters and neither users in the future that will create metrics for the project. So yeah, I would say that's the two main parts that I look at when I do some research on the project, about the project and about the marketing, or like more generally the distribution side of the project.
All right, understood. And then my next question would then be, what is one project or sector or chain that you're bullish on right now and why?
Yeah, I would say there is a few narratives part of the global thesis that I have. I particularly like everything that's helping for capital efficiency and interconnections, among chains, which helps liquidity to move around at least. Like, there is a lot of new layers, new chains, which are basically scattering the liquidity, making the global access and onboarding super complex to new users. So everything that helps to have one unique ecosystem and not 20 chains, 20 different RPCs on your on your MetaMask, 20 different chains where you need to have gas on it because otherwise you cannot transact. It's basic for us, but for someone that enters the market, it's not logic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not helpful and it's not pleasant, to interact with the market. So yeah, I kind of like all of this, which combined with account abstraction, uh, which is currently now quite interesting, and now uh, possibly AI as well. Something like you would just be able to type, uh, send Ethereum to, I don't know, or buy Ethereum on Arbitrum during this period or at this price, so put a limit order. It's all the type of new developments that for me are super needed in the industry, because we are all here as investors. We buy tokens now, so since, as I mentioned before, having a few portfolios, so you buy now because you believe the price are low. But if you want to sell your tokens at a higher price in the future, you need someone to buy it. you know you need someone to enter and to buy your token. Why will they buy your token and how will they do? The easiest it is for them to enter, the easiest for them it is to understand what they are doing, what the project, what's the added value, if there is any. The most chances you will have for the token to pump. So yeah, that's basically the main sectors I look at. Now on some more specific sectors, I like the intents and request for quotes,
Mm-hmm.
kind of uh, not narrative but sector. And I also like the LPDFi, so everything that recycle, concentrated liquidity. So it's again, going towards capital efficiency and helping to make the most of what we have now and continue, developing this market.
Awesome. I think you mentioned a really great point earlier, right? Where it's better if it's easier for the non-users to onboard into crypto. And I think my question then, right, would then be, what do you think, or how do you think it would make it easier to onboard more people onto crypto?
Um, so absolutely not using MetaMask. Like really, I still don't understand like a few months ago, I finally gave a try to Rabi wallet, and it's completely different. And even sometimes me, when I want to send funds among different blockchains on different wallets. So let's say you send USDC from wallet A to wallet B on Optimism, or you bridge from Optimism to Arbitrum, and it's received on another wallet. Then you receive your funds and you say, "Oh damn, I don't have the network, added to the MetaMask. How can I get the network? Like you send money to this wallet, but basically your wallet is not even showing the network. But then, okay, you go, you add the RPC and so on, which is extremely complex. Then you try to make a transaction, and it says you don't have gas. So then you have to withdraw funds to find funds somewhere else to send gas on your wallet. So then you can finally use it. It's so many processes that no one uh, will stay and like kind of try to understand and try to onboard. So I'm not a big fan of centralized exchanges due to the like all the past bad experiences we had with them, but at least there is something that they did, which is onboarding users. And why? Because the onboarding process is simple. Create account, easy, like any website. You do so now most of the exchanges are KYC. You do the KYC, it's also quite easy. And then you whether use your credit card or bank transfer, and you have your money on your in crypto. So let's say you have USD, then you can buy all the cryptos that are listed on the exchange. It's super easy, but if we really want to onboard users in DeFi, uh, there is a lot of work to be done. And yeah, I think it mainly goes through the wallets, making wallets much more easier to interact with, to understand. There is also the Telegram bots, which are doing a nice job to help people trading and so on. So yeah, it's all in all like if you can combine in the future intents, AI, account abstraction, which is kind of let's say a very very good progress. You can basically just write wherever you want, whatever you want, and it will be done on chain. So I write right now, like on Telegram or whatever, send $5 in Ethereum to Moose, and that's done. I don't have to put my password. I don't have to change the RPC or to check on which network I have Ethereum, because otherwise I would have to go on an exchange on a DEX. I will have to approve the amount on the DEX. I will have to do the swap. Then I will have to send you the money. It's for me it's way too complex, and we need to make this much easier for users. So
Right.
that would be a way.
Yeah, I think that's a really good example you brought up there, right? Like how users now with Rabi, right? I'm not sure what took you so long to go onto Rabi, by the way. But right now, like compared to MetaMask, right? We previously had to go and search for which RPC should we use for this chain, right? What should we input in all the fields, right? And then compared to now, on Rabi, it just does it for you. I think that's a really big step forward. And of course, like you mentioned, intent as well, right? How you don't really need to know the know-hows, right, of how a transaction is gonna route on the back end, but you can just talk to it in you can just command it, right, in English, right, proper English, and tell it what to do, and it will just execute it for you. I think that's a really great point where we are really improving step by step, right, slowly moving forward as an industry as a whole.
Yeah, exactly. That's for me a way to really attract more users, and then another one. So I'm mainly mentioning attracting users to DeFi, but another one would be to find better scaling solutions. I guess you've probably tried to transact on Ethereum over the past maybe weeks or months. Last time I paid like $30
Man, tell me
for,
about it.
for a swap, and you're like, imagine like let's say if you made your plan in the for the bull run, try to do some price assumptions about Ethereum and so on, and let's say you assume that Ethereum will do 10x from here, which is not impossible. Um, you're basically paying $300 to ape a coin or to do a swap, which is crazy. So for any new users, you want to onboard people. Most of the time, they don't have huge capital. Maybe they will uh, invest in DeFi, like I don't know, $100, 200, 500. And if they want to do a transaction or a swap of $50 and it costs them 30, there is no point of doing so. So yeah, helping also yeah to solve those issues. Scalability is super important, and so that's why there is a lot of scalability layers now. um, and we'll have to see, at least in a bull market environment, how they behave. So it will be interesting.
Yep, totally. Right, and then my next question would then be, where do you think, right, the opportunities are right now, or like where are they gonna be at, right? Given that we've always have opportunities everywhere, right? We had the shitcoin or meme coin season, we had the base season for a bit, and then now everyone's back on farming Arbitrum. So where do you think the opportunity is at right now, or where is it gonna be?
Yeah, I think there is indeed opportunities everywhere on the market. So mainly depends what you're interested in. Me, I find pretty interesting to dive into new ecosystems, from so whether layer ones or layer twos. And if you're like, let's say, bullish on layer the layer and the chain as a whole, you should be bullish on the ecosystem that they are trying to build. And so basically, being early into this ecosystem, it's for me the way to make. So if by opportunities we mean money, and which I guess, then it's the best ways at the moment, and the easiest, I would say as well, to make money. So you have new ecosystems that are backed with pretty big foundations or companies that raised a lot of money. For example, there is Mentor, which has have, I don't know, 1.5 billion in treasury. So you say, okay, they have a nice project, they have a lot of money to allocate to the ecosystem. Let's be early. Let's learn about the ecosystem. What's building? What are the dexes? What are the perp dexes? What are the lending and borrowing uh, projects? Is there some new stuff around there? And then you are early. You can't really know if the chain will uh, completely, like, become mainstream or whatever. But at least you are early on the chain, so you buy or you take part into the main project. So a native DEX, a native lending and borrowing, native perp DEX, native whatever, liquid active liquidity management. So you have the native projects, which will get the most traction on the chain if the chain or when the chain pump, and then you are super well positioned. So that was the play, for example, on Arbitrum with Camelot, native decks. There was no native decks back in the time, and so positioning yourself on Camelot at this period was quite a nice play. So identify new chains, check if they have funding to back the ecosystem and the growth. Because basically to attract project as a chain, so first obviously you need a nice product which attract developers. But if you want to attract users, TVL activity, you need to so attract developers, and maybe since they are quite demanded because there is so many layers now, maybe you have to give them a few grants. So basically, uh, the chains that have the most money, then they might attract the most developers or the best ones. Good developers, they will build good project. Good project will attract users, TVL activity, and basically the chain will grow. So yeah, finding chains that are interesting, and try to stick into the ecosystem or around the narrative.
Right, awesome. Thanks for sharing. So you posted a tweet on your price prediction, right? Kind of for Bitcoin and Ethereum, talking about how many multiples they could potentially do based on what they did historically, right? So and we are months away from Bitcoin halving, and we are seeing the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF news getting closer. The deadline's getting closer day by day, right? We're moving somewhere here. What is your takes on the markets over the next half a year or next 1 year?
Yeah, no, I think it will be quite interesting to see really how it takes place. This Bitcoin ETF, really like how the market is reacting. We had a kind of glimpse when the forgot the what was the name of the media when they did the fake ETF announcement. Cointelegraph, I think, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, we had a kind of glimpse of how the market will react, and even though it was found quite rapidly that it was fake, I think we had like a 10% pump super rapidly. So it means that people really want it to happen. A lot of money were at the same time kind of sidelined. So I don't know yet if it's already priced in. I would say not, but there is definitely more persons now that are positioned than before this kind of fake announcement. So this catalyst combined with the halving, combined with so we saw as well some Ethereum ETF. I think it will bring a lot of eyes to the market, uh, and also it's a point which I forgot to mention to onboard new users. It will obviously help a lot to onboard new persons, at least to make them, a bit more interested about cryptos and learning about the industry, because they can basically buy from their bank or from whoever on the market. Compared to now, you have to go to an exchange. You don't know if it's a shady thing. You don't know if they will steal your funds and so on. Here you buy from your bank, so it's safe and everyone can do it. Even funds manager might do it without like directly mentioning it. So yeah, I think it will help a lot for the market to get more, yeah, more eyes on it. Still, I'm not an expert in macro or saying like on the short time frame what would happen. But I think just those two catalysts are quite interesting. And apparent, if we assume that the history repeat itself, then we should have a bull run not long after the halving. So kind of quite interested to see how this plays out.
Mm-hmm. Me too, me too. Super excited. And let's hope that we kick off the bull in the up only as historically it always has, man.
Yeah, man, looking forward.
Mm-hmm. Me too, me too. All right, then let's move on, like to understand a bit more about yourself. From our brief from my brief understanding about yourself, right? You are traveling right now, right, from country to country, living the life as a digital nomad. Could you bring us through your daily routine on days where you're not moving from one place to another?
Yeah, yeah, sure. It's quite basic. I will do the comparison with the yeah, digital normal life, but I like to have a routine and get really used to it. For me, it's how I'm the most efficient. So basically, it's waking up at like 8 a.m., uh, do whatever for 10, 20 minutes, then write on a daily basis. I like to write what I did on the previous day, um, because when you enter in a routine, basically all every day is kind of the same. Like you one day you zoom out and you say, wait, what did I do special or like interesting over the past 1, 2, 3 months? You forgot, like because you did not do some really interesting stuff. So I like to write about it, write what I do, and I just open the journal and I see, oh yeah, I did this. So it's not journaling, like, hey, I'm grateful for this or so on. It's mainly to make a recap of what I did yesterday. It helps me as well to review it, see what I did well, uh, see what I did, like I could have done better. Why did I do this? Why I was not that efficient and productive and so on. So kind of reflect on what you did the previous day and then take action on the new day. So this it's quite fast. Then I start working. So mainly catching up with messages, Telegram, Discord. I'm in quite a few alpha DAOs and alpha groups. So there is a lot of activity, a lot of stuff to catch up with, some plays and so on. Then I go on TweetDeck. I really like TweetDeck and I really believe everyone should use it. You build your list with the persons you want to see content from, and it's all displayed in one page. And basically, in maybe 20 to 30 minutes maximum, you've seen everything that happened over the past day, instead of going on Twitter and scrolling, to try to find the information that's important. But it's a social network, so it's made to keep you as long as possible scrolling. So I go through TweetDeck, all the list that I have, if there is valuable content and so on. And so then I guess Twitter notifications, answering to the messages, to the notifications, to the persons I'm talking to. Then I can finally start doing some proactive work. So it depends on the day-to-day tasks. I also like to, put some tasks with priority in a day. Like, I really have to do the Let's Lose with Moose today. So that's on the to-do list, trying to get as many done as possible during the day. But mainly, yeah, preparing this. Then I work with some projects for content writing. So I help them and write some content for them. Then most of the time I eat, and then it's basically depends. Like every day, there is not a particular moment where, like, from I don't know 2 to 3 p.m. I do this. It's always depending on the priorities. But then I work until 6 or 7, do some sport, go for some food, and then I'm back to work until like I don't know 11:30 midnight, and then sleep 8 hours minimum to keep some health. I think it's important to work a lot to get things done, but it's also important to keep health and live a healthy lifestyle.
Totally.
That's why you could go work until 2 a.m., wake up at 8, so you have 2 more hours of grind. But it's on the long term, again, it's not worth it, and I don't want to sacrifice potential health for working more. So that's basically this. Then, as you said, I started traveling because I saw that the digital nomad life is so cool. You can work from the pool or the beach or everything.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's not really true. It's kind of a bit overrated because I kind of needed this routine and this stable environment. So being efficient when you're traveling or when you don't have a proper working setup, it's not the best, especially when you do operational stuff. So like I don't know, writing threads, writing some stuff for partners or for some crypto guys or whatever. It's not the best for me, so I'm still not complaining. It's a lot of persons would love to work and travel from basically wherever they can. But I'd say, yeah, digital nomad. I need to spend more time in each countries and not move that much to stay efficient.
Right, right. Like the disruption in your routine, right? And then the time zone is different as well. They got get used to it as well.
Yeah, and indeed now and that I'm in Asia, and that I have calls with Americans. It's basically like between 12 hours difference. It's really terrible to find uh, slots with them. So again, it's changing, the whole way of how you're working, pushing you to work maybe a bit later so you can catch up with the Americans and so on. So yeah, it's quite different, but it's interesting. You can travel, you learn a lot. Uh, I think it helps a lot on your personality and having a vision of the world, how everything is working, how people are, behaving and so on. So that's super nice.
Yeah, welcome to the Asia time zone life, man. All right. Moving on, right, to the my next few questions, right? We're gonna wrap up soon, but before that, what is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Um, so yeah, based on kind of, let's say, my story or background, whatever, it's to continue uh, trying new things, trying and failing, not being afraid to fail. You know, it's better to. I really believe it's better to try and fail 5 times than try and fail 0 times because you basically never tried anything. Um, so no need to listen to the persons that pretend to know. Uh, really learn from the persons that are where you want to be. Uh, Not like asking random advice from your friend or your aunt and listening to this. I know you should not try cryptos. I saw on the media that it's a scam and blah blah blah. Really, trying to to do as many things as possible. Um, it's not it's impossible to have all the planets to be aligned to start something like you know sometimes there is persons that are planning for months and months. Yeah, I want to do this, but I need this first and so on. Maybe you will waste I don't know, 1 hour, 10 hour, 100 hours, uh, which I kind of did when, for example, I did poker, or I did e-commerce. At the time, for me, when it was not successful, when it became a failure, I was like, yeah, I spent so much time on this and it's not working. But then in the future, it was super useful for me. So, for example, e-commerce on the copywriting and the content, it was super useful when I created my Twitter account and I started to interact on social media. So it's not really lost. Like the the learnings that you have, and the things that you create, the experience that you have, it's much better. And especially if instead of scrolling on Instagram or like watching some useless things, you can just allocate some time every day. I don't know, 1 hour a day to learn something new, try something new. Um, it's really, yeah, one of the piece of advice that I would give to myself.
Yeah, I think that's a really great one, right? Given your own experience of how you've tried so many different things, right? And just learning from each one of them, right? Despite the outcome, right? I think that's really important here. And and my next question would then be, what is your greatest takeaway or your greatest lesson learned from being in crypto?
Um, I would say that networking and having friends and connections is really important. So not especially in crypto, uh, in the life in general. I've always seen, so exactly when I was searching for entrepreneurial stuff to do, during the schools, the lessons, the teacher, they all were saying like, hey, your network is super important to know people. Your network is your net worth, like this kind of sentence. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't, I don't really like, I don't want to interact with many persons. And then in crypto, I started to interact with communities, with persons, and it's really, really important because they can help you to learn things, to learn concepts, to learn projects, to make you discover projects, to bring you opportunities, to help you access different things. It's, let's say, one of the perks of being a KOL. You can enter in contact with projects. You can directly ask them the questions that you have. So that's quite nice, and that's a takeaway that before entering crypto, I was completely not believing it. And I also really like the inclusivity, even if it's kind of weird, but inclusivity of crypto. Like basically, you're interacting with persons from all over the world. There is no differentiation based on, like, I don't know, the age, where they're from, their background, and so on. It's really everyone is at the same stage. It's I would say it's completely unique to this industry, and especially when you compare it to TradFi. If you want to interact with, I don't know, a project founder or whatever, you will never be able to interact with them. While you are in on Discord or on Telegram or Twitter, you can chat with guys that are extremely important, that have done like crazy things in their life, and they are basically like helping you, answering you. While again, I would say in traditional sectors, those guys, they would just say among themselves. Like I went to some crypto events, and you meet people that are super friendly, super happy to meet other crypto guys. So that's really something I like about this industry.
Yeah, totally agree, man. I love how we're able to meet people from all over the world, regardless of background and age, just because we have this thing in common. I think it's really lovely, and I mean, I really saw that right in Token 2049, right? That was like kind of my first in-person event, compared to previously we just on Discord chatting. I mean, it's great talking on Discord and Twitter and making friends as well. But then after that, it's like you meeting your gamer friend in real life, right?
No, exactly, because crypto in the end, you're alone. So it depends if you live with friends, like in the real life, but you're basically alone behind your computer all day long. Everyone has profile picture of monkeys or frogs or whatever. So there is not much real interactions among people, even if, like, there is guys I'm interacting with them for years and years, and I don't even know their name or where they're from. So yeah, going to events, meeting people in real life where you share the same objectives or like same interest, it's really really nice.
Yep, totally. And I think it's been a really great chat and to hear all your stories and insights shared, Lauren. And I think it's about time we wrap this up. But I have one final question for you before that, right? Because I need to hear from you three names, right, to give me as guest nominations to come on my podcast in future.
Yes. So I saw you already had some very interesting persons. So, I will try to mention other very interesting ones. I would love to hear about Rectiomedes. I guess you know him. I really love his
Yes,
video.
yes, but he doesn't do voice doxing for now.
Okay.
Sorry
So
about that.
we will skip Rectiomedes, but yeah, that would be like amazing to have him.
Mm-hmm.
He helped a lot of small accounts to grow. I think yeah, pretty nice. So I will mention my friend Crypto Tracy,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty knowledgeable, especially on the marketing side. So I think it could be quite nice
The
to
CMO of
have.
Entangle Fire, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. I would like to mention as well Jiraya. I guess, do you know him?
Yep, yep. Met that token as well. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Would
had.
have would love, yeah, to hear about his story and
Mm-hmm.
experience. I think that could be quite valuable. And lastly, I would like to mention Thor Hardingson. Hope I pronounce it properly. Let's say very nice views on the market, and I think he can bring a lot of value on to this podcast.
Yeah, I think he does really great videos as well. I think particularly one that I remember is the one explaining Uni V3 at the early stages when it first came out. I think that was really useful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and been wanting to get him on as well. I think you give all really great recommend nominations. Would be awesome to have all of them on. And all right, thank you so much, Doron, for coming on. I think we had a really great chat today. We covered many different topics. Thanks for taking the time to come on and share your insights over here. And thank you to the listeners for tuning into this episode. We will see you in the next episode.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
That brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Before you go, do remember to give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you never miss a thing. Comment down below what you liked about this episode, who you would like me to interview next, or any topics that you want to learn more about. Until next time, this is Moose moving out.